Hi, it's Russ from Pro Tools Expert, and I've got myself a copy of Ocean Way Studios, one of the new plugins that has shipped with UAD version 7, which is out as of today, May 6, 2013. Also, there are a couple more plugins, but I want to show you Ocean Way for now, and Ocean Way has been 3 years in the making, according to some sources that I've been reading today, and it is a representation of recording at Ocean Way Studios. They've worked with Alan Sides, who knows that room and that studio and the rooms in that studio like no one else. So they've worked closely with him. And if you go and watch the video, he has actually said that he is at times now using this because it can be quicker than setting up the mics if you watch that on the video. So let me tell you how it works. It is, in some ways, there's nothing new about the concept, but there's some new features and some new technology inside it, which aims to give an even truer representation of modelling rooms. And so basically, as you can see from the interface, we have two studios, Studio A and B, and you can go and look at pictures online. In fact, if you go here and then go to interior, you can see there. It is a little reminiscent of Abbey Road, which I have been to. I haven't been to Ocean Way Studios. So the thing I'm going to say straight away before I do this review is that I have no way of telling whether this is truly a representation of these studios. We have to take Alan's word for that, and that he's the guy that really knows those rooms. But in one way, this isn't really the question here. It's whether this is a useful tool in the recording process to give us spaces in which to sit our audio. So that's room 1, and then there's Ocean Way B there, a completely different room. And then if you hit the information bar, you'll see a little more about how things work when you actually start to use it. So you have A, and then you have a sort of mapped representation of what you have when you first load it. Now you'll see a light flashing when I'm changing things. That's actually loading the convolutions. Now, until that stops flashing, they're not fully loaded. And then you are ready to audition them. So you have the positions, then you have the master EQ, which is a low and a high shelf, on and off, frequency selection, gain, and cut, plus and minus 12 dB. Then, as I say, a picture of the interior, which is nice. Then you have a source. Then you choose the ideal source, and these are basically presets which have been devised by Alan, who knows all about what mics to use in those situations. So if you choose a source, it will load it in, and then you can listen to that and audition it. So you can go through them and bring them in. And as you see, as I'm bringing them in, a few other things are happening as well. So if we go to position as well while I'm doing the source, you'll see on the map there, then the sources are changing as I go through them. And there's everything you can choose from. So obviously, the reality is that you should probably trust what they've done here, because they know what they're talking about. Then over here, you have 3 mix buses. You have the near mics, the mid mics, and the far mics. You have a selection of mics, and as you load in these different sources and different presets from here, of course, as well, this is the Pro Tools version of the presets. Let's just close that. As you load different ones in, then these mics will come up, and these are the suggested mic settings, and also, if we take them out of mute, you'll see them there. They're distances and the suggested mics. So if you click on here, you can go through the mics. You've got C12, and the C stands for cardioid and omni, and then 12A, cardioid and omni. Then here we've got cardioid omni, and KU3As, KM54s, MKH20s, and then M50s, MKH there, U67s. So they're all in there for you to try. Now in different environments as well, I think in piano, I think you've also got some figure of 8 options in there. So if you see an 8, that means figure of 8, and you could choose that as well. Perhaps it's in strings. It's in here somewhere, definitely. You can go through those and choose different ones in different positions. Perhaps it's in guitar. Yeah, there's an 8. So that's a 44 in a figure of 8 pattern. So that's what they stand for. Then there's the distance. As you move them, you get a graphical representation of the distance of those mics moving as well. There. Then you've got a high pass and a low pass filter, a phase and a mute. All of those, a balance in terms of left and right, and then faders to balance the 3 mic channels that you've got. Then you've got, I'm going to come back to mode in a minute. Then you've got bypass, left and right swap, mono, wet solo, and then a dry and wet setting. Now, depending on how you use this, there are two modes. The first mode is the remic mode, and that's trying to give you a different version of the original original mic. So what I mean by that is that if you have a track, and if you read the blurb, that's the technical term for a manual, you'll note that if you're going to try and do some remiking, in other words, try and replace the mics that were originally used, they've got to be pretty clean. They've got to be particularly have no room in them in the first place. They've got to be pretty dry. And if they're not, then you can try and dry them out using something like some of the reverberate options that are available now in certain plugins. So remiking, and what remiking allows you to do is it allows you to replace the mics that you used originally, which is really, really cool. So remiking, you put in an insert situation in a channel, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. I've got some drums, I've got a guitar and a piano. That's what I've got down to give you 3 examples of how this could work. Or you can then use it in the conventional sort of reverb sense. And I've got here on an auxiliary bus, so all my drums are going through here, through there, and then I could use it as a reverb. Then when I'm in reverb mode, I also have the dry and wet setting as well, and we can add some pre-delay in, so we can use it as a convolution reverb. So you can use this as a conventional reverb modeling Ocean Way Studios, or you could use it as the remic option. So I'm going to show you in 4 situations. The first one I'm going to show you with is I'm going to show you on this set of overheads. So let's go over here. So I've loaded in my drums, Ocean Way B, and I'm just going to, for a second, bypass it. So here it is first, just the drum overheads. Let's turn this up a bit. So then I can bring them in. So there's the nears. As I say, I can then use the distance. So that's now as if I was using a pair of C12s in Omni or Cardioid. Or the C12As. So you get right on the kit if you want. Let's bring the second pair in then. So a pair of mids then. And then the fars. And again, we can just bring all those together then. Then I say I can add some master EQ in. There's the original, which has still got some room on it, you can hear that. Let's hear that now in the, let's just mute the piano and guitar. So straight away you can hear it, it's really nice. So let me now go to their settings, so we're going to load one in. See your flashing light? That's loading them all in. So that's one in now, that's drums 1. Let's give us C12s, M50s, then we can balance them again. And what you could do, of course, as well, is you could do a bit of Buddy Miller on it and make them mono. Which is nice as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just mute that, put my wine down, which I'm drinking while I do this review. It'll probably get me through it. Certainly gets me through some of the comments we read. I'm sure that somebody's going to watch this video and say, well, this doesn't sound as good as a Deverb through a pair of Dr. Dre headphones. Well, bless you, my friend. Anyway, let's now play this as a reverb on the kit. Let's put some wet. So we can use it like that instead. Put some pre-delay on it. So as a convolution reverb, I think it sounds pretty nice. And again, we can mix them all in. Take the nears out. Make it mono again. So of course you could fake a kind of mono mic technique on a pair of channels, which is quite nice. Okay, let's show you now on a guitar. So here's a guitar. So we started off, and as I said, there's different rooms. If we went to Ocean Way B, we've got this totally different room. It's in this room now, and we're in cab, and we'll go for that one. There's the original, nice and dry. It's kind of Robert Plant type Buddy Miller guitar from something like Raising Sand or a Band of Joy. So let's bring that mic right. Let's just mute these two for a second. Get it really close on the mic. Put some master EQ in there. Put the other two mics in now. That's really nice. And I've got some low pass there. There's the all three, and it's bypassed that. So we've got different mics we can try. 1244 on it and figure of 8 pan. Get that close again. Put a pair of U67s behind at the back. Bring those closer in. There's the original again. Lovely. Get even closer with that. Put the 57 back on the front. Put the back pair back in. At 2.7 feet. Oh, it's really nice. We've got the flashing light there as the convolution's doing its magic. So it's actually convolution. It's not just a filter going on there. Turn off the reverb again and make it. Let's get the piano up now. There's the original. And again, we can go on the piano first and just load in the original. That's in room B. Let's go to room A, much bigger room. There's the original. Put the mids in. Pull them back a bit again. Much closer mic piano. We'll take it back. So as you can hear, make it mono as well. But it's well worth trying. Alan's suggested he knows what he's doing in that studio, so it's well worth using his suggested settings. And really, that is it, really. It's a very nice piece of kit. So let's just play you those all in together. Let's mute them all now. Now, the other thing I want to say as well is it's highly likely that you would probably put them all in the same room. So I've mixed up rooms. I've got like B here, and then I've got B there, and I've got A there. So it's more likely you'd put them all in the same room. Not necessarily, of course, recording engineers do all sorts of stuff, so there are no rules, but it's well worth trying out and well worth experimenting. I think it's a fantastic plugin. I always love Universal Audio. I'll declare that straight away. They make great products, they've got a great attitude, and this is one that's well worth checking out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.